Teaching Diverse Populations Successfully, a documentary addressing the topic of preparing teachers to teach diverse populations, by Brittany White and Ashley Bridgeford.
Teaching is no easy task. With new policies and curriculum standards, teaching a group of students is not something that is going to come easily to every teacher. Teachers are feeling overwhelmed and unprepared to meet these new standards when all of their students are so different. Look at this classroom. What do you see? A homogeneous group? Sure. Many of the children look similar. They may come from similar backgrounds, and let's say they all are standard English speaking. Are they all on the same level of learning? The answer to this question is of course not. Simply because students are from the same background and speak the same language does not mean that they all learn the same way. Teachers are required to address this in each classroom across the country.
Now let's take a look at this classroom. Quite different, right? This is what many classrooms across the country look like, and this is where the school system is heading. Diversity. The country that we live in is becoming more and more diverse, so it is natural that our schools will begin to, if they do not already, look this way. As we said, teaching any group of children is a daunting task. Now imagine teaching this group of children. This is clearly a heterogeneous group. Perhaps some are Spanish speakers who are learning English as a second language. In 2011, English learners represented 10% of the total student population, with the majority being in states such as California, Florida, and Texas. Maybe we have a few children who speak a non-standard dialect, such as African American Vernacular English or Chicano English. How do teachers begin to address this classroom with one common core curriculum? Teaching diverse populations is no easy task. When a child comes into the classroom speaking a different language and not proficient in standard English, where do we begin?
So we have this diverse group. Who is responsible for making sure that they become successful? Is it the ESL teacher's responsibility? Maybe they actually speak the child's native language, so perhaps the majority of the responsibility falls on them. Is it the curriculum specialist? Pull-out remediation may be done for some of these students when they begin to fall behind, so maybe it is their responsibility to help them to catch up. Is it the main classroom teacher? The child is with them for the majority of the day, so they should be picking up the slack. Maybe the parents of the child should be taking responsibility for helping the child learn English. Why aren't they speaking it at home? Too many times we see this is schools. Why isn't one person doing more over another? The blame game. The truth is,
it takes a village. No one person is responsible for making the child successful. They all play an integral part. It is important not to place undeserved blame on people that are only doing what they know how to do to make the child successful.
How do we make our students successful? What are the things that we should be doing? Do we need interpreters in the room? Should we be providing more visuals in the classroom? Is pull-out necessary? These are all questions that our teachers are asking. There is very little that teachers know about teaching various multicultural students and English language learners, in addition to teaching children with a non-standard dialect.
What can we do to support our teachers? It is clear that many teachers would not know where to start if they had a child who was not an English speaker. The chances are they would go to a different teacher, or the ESOL teacher for assistance. But as we said, it takes a village to make these children successful. We need to educate our teachers more if they're going to be successful in teaching diverse populations.
When asked what kind of training they received about teaching diverse populations, 2 teachers reported that they had one class during their undergraduate education in order to earn their degree in teaching. One of the 2 teachers reported that she was a certified ESOL teacher, but would feel unprepared to teach a child who was bilingual or learning English as a second language. Most of what both teachers have learned about teaching diverse populations and different languages has been from the school speech language pathologist, and some continuing education classes. What does this tell us? That we are not preparing our teachers properly. Of course, teachers should not feel as though they could simply do it all on their own, but they certainly should not feel completely unprepared to work with a child who is Spanish or French speaking.
When asked what they would need in order to be more successful if they were to come across a student who was bilingual, both teachers reported that they would like to learn not only more about that specific language and culture, but more about language learning. When asked why, one of the teachers reported that from her work with special needs children, she has encountered many children with very extensive language impairments. She reported that what she's learned about language development from the school speech-language pathologist and how to support these children, she believes that these things would be the same kind of supports that would benefit a second language learner. This teacher was asked to name a few of the strategies, and she stated that visuals were very important for her special needs children and constant building on what they say. She stated an example. If he says, drink, I grab the communication board and demonstrate, want that, and I'll say, I want a drink. Oh, you want a drink? That kind of thing.
These reports from the teachers about their feelings of incompetence when it comes to teaching diverse populations can be seen in current research. In a study done by Ruth Chow in April of 2013, it was determined that white and racial ethnic minority school counselors had the lowest multicultural counseling competence scores and higher colorblind racial attitudes when limited training was provided. In an earlier study done by Pope Davis and Otavi in 1994, Asian American and Hispanic counselors reported more multicultural knowledge than did white counselors, and African American, Asian American, and Hispanic counselors reported more competence in multicultural awareness and relationships than did white counselors.
From teacher interview, classroom observation, and research review, our claim has been proven that teachers are unprepared to teach diverse populations. So what can you do? Teachers have expressed a desire to learn more about language learning. Though it may not be practical to send all of our teachers back to school, there are opportunities and resources to assist our teachers in becoming more competent in the area of language learning and teaching diverse populations. The most practical thing to do is to look within your school. Having SLPs and ESOL teachers provide various in-services on desired topics such as language development or multicultural sensitivities. It is also important to make sure that all resources make themselves available to all parties to provide support and assistance. Having a sense of an open door policy will alleviate possible misunderstanding and miscommunications in the future. If all parties are communicating, they will be able to serve the child more appropriately.